We want to take you through the step-by-step process of how to buy land, build houses, and do it step-by-step so that you guys have the ability to follow the exact sequence. That's what we're doing now. Remember, this is the second time we've done this for you guys, and we have a 24 series step-by-step process that we recorded about 2 years ago in YouTube. At the end of this video, I'm going to recommend those videos on the tail end so that you can watch not just this one, but those ones as well. Every time that we record, we're at a different place in the house, so what I cover in each video may be different from 2 years ago than today. All of it is relevant because there's so many small little components. Don't miss any of them. The best way to learn is through redundancy. So as we document the process right now, we're working right now to solidify getting the house closed up. Interior walls and exterior walls. Just got our electrical inspection, just got our frame inspection. The insulation guys are in there right now insulating the house. So the step-by-step process, if you look at the last prior video, is we were doing the heating and cooling rough-in it's called the mechanical rough-in. We were doing the plumbing top-out, and then we were doing the electrical rough-in. Those inspections get done first. Then the insulation guys come in and seal all your penetrations. We get an inspection on the frame, and then we land up being able to go in and do the insulation inspection and get all the insulation installed. That's what's going on now. Now, before we can put sheetrocks on the wall, we have to call back in and get an insulation inspection to make sure that the insulation is fully finished to energy standards and requirements in today's building codes, according to the international building codes. Now, once the insulation inspection has passed, then we can come in and put the sheetrock on the walls. The sheetrock company is currently dropping off the sheetrock. And one of the instructions that we told them is not to put it against any of the insulated walls, but only on the walls that have no insulation on them, so that way the inspection can get done. The interior walls don't typically get insulated. It's the perimeter walls that get insulated unless you want soundproofing. The only reason to go in and insulate the interior walls is for soundproofing itself. Now, the demising walls between the garage and the house always get insulated. The exterior walls always get insulated, and obviously the roof lines always get insulated as well. Once the insulation has been approved, then we can actually call the rockers to come in and start hanging sheetrock. But before you actually tape and texture the sheetrock, you have to come in and get a rocking inspection to make sure that it's fastened correctly and that the screws or drywall nails have the proper spread on them and it's been fastened and adhered correctly to the walls with the right spacing. Now, those inspections are real simple. In this process as well, we're also buttoning up the outside of the dwelling. Once we got a shear wall and sheeting inspection, that means that they were able to come in and inspect the shearing to make sure that the wind and the structural integrity of those walls were fastened correctly. We'll sometimes do that to speed up the process of the stucco before we get the frame inspection. It can either be done at the frame inspection itself, or you can come in and get a sheeting or shear wall inspection prior. Now, if you're in the coastal states where you're doing concrete walls, the inspection process is slightly different. You're going to come in and do a vertical erection. You're going to get your walls, before you actually pour them, inspected for the rebar spacing. If you're going vertical with like CMU, or if you're doing straight concrete tilt-up walls. And then once you get that inspection, then you can actually pour the concrete into the cells. And then you get your finished structural inspection with the trusses and your finished rooftop and everything on it. Real similar to what you do with a framed house, but the inspections are worded and called out slightly different than a frame construction house. Because over 85% of homes are stick frame construction and not concrete walls, this is going to be the process for over 85% of you guys, no matter where you build, unless you're building coastal and you're going vertical with concrete walls or CMU walls, which are block walls. Now, with that said, we're doing the exterior close-up now. We got our shear wall inspection. We got our framing inspection. So we'll come in and we'll put in our vapor barrier, which is the black waterproofing paper that goes around the entire house, sheeting that goes around the entire house, and then our lathing material, which is the wire. Now, once we get our lath inspection, we can again come in and put our brown coat on. We cannot put our brown coat on the house until the lath inspection has been done. Now, in spite of the name's a little deceiving. It's called a brown coat. It's not actually a brown coat of anything. It's called the brown coat, but it's actually a concrete cement coat that goes over the entire house. And we put in fiber mesh to make it stronger. And we put in some crack master and some glue adhesives to really waterproof and make sure that the base coat is strong. Now, you can either do this as a 3-stage application or a 2-stage application. If we do a 3-stage application, then they do what's called a scratch coat that leaves the texture really rough, and it's scratched with a trowel. That's a scratching trowel, which leaves little lines in it. Or it comes in and they do just a brown coat and then a color coat. And if you do a scratch coat, you do a scratch coat, then a brown coat, then a color coat. Now, for resale purposes, a regular 2-stage brown coat, color coat is super sufficient, especially if you use a fiber mesh to actually stucco the outside of your house. Now, for those of you guys that are doing paneling or some type of other exterior facade like Galvalume, which is really popular now, or stone, there's a different process to the base coat. Now, stone, you'll always do your base coat just like you do stucco, but instead of doing a color coat, now you come in and you put your stone on top of your brown coat, or I rather prefer doing what's called a scratch coat on stone walls because it adheres to those walls without falling off substantially better. Now, when we land up doing like siding and paneling, we come in, we do the same type of waterproofing material, but we don't do the wire lath. So we put the waterproofing material on there. Typically, it's stapled or nailed on, and then we come in and we put all of our siding on top of the waterproofing material. That way, if there's any seepage of moisture that gets behind any of the facade material, it has a waterproofing barrier that doesn't allow it to get to the wood. So this process is extremely important. Now, by this time, the roof should be fully completed. All skylights should be in, and this way you can put a separation between the roof line and where the roof line of the parapet walls meets the actual stucco. There should be a metal control joint there, or what's called a plaster stop, so that way it finishes clean all the way up to the roof line. And that way it doesn't leave any room for error in regards to roof leaks or house penetrations for mold and wood rot or any of the other things. So FYI, those are things that we can take some video footage of the roof on for you guys so you guys can see that. Now, one of the things that we start doing after the brown coat that you'll notice is there's not a lot of debris on the ground out here. The crew came in, they did a hand pickup on all the trash, all the nails, because we're about to bring a tractor in. After we do the brown coat, we'll typically come out and we'll start our pre-grade before final grade. And what our pre-grade is made to do is start working the grade so that we can start getting the rough grading done with retention ponds, start making sure that we have dirt in its place where it goes. And then once we get our color coat on, we come and do our final grade and we push everything back around the foundation, backfill along the stucco. We make sure our drainage holes are in on our block walls and that we have everything in place for our final grade for grading and drainage so that the water migrates away from the house. Now, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it becomes really fun once we start closing up these walls. On the next video, what we're going to show you is what's called final trim out. We're going to go in and do all the flooring. We're going to trim out the house. We'll start putting in cabinets. We'll start putting in some of the fixtures, heating and cooling, trim out, the registers, and all of that stuff. So follow the content. Click and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're notified when the next video comes out so you can actually follow the entire process of buying land, building houses, and making sure that you guys don't miss out on the step-by-step process of buying land, building houses, and actually documenting it so you can follow it step-by-step as you guys enter into your own builds. So last but not least, one of the things before you start closing up these walls, in spite of the inspectors going in and taking a look at all the components for you, one of the things that I do is I like to go in and look at all my lighting fixture locations. I want to go and look at all my switches and their locations, my gas lines and gas stub outs. I want to make sure that they align with where the range is going to go in the kitchen or the cooktop or the oven. I want to make sure that the water lines align with where the refrigerator is going to go. I want to make sure that the plugs align with where all the TVs are going to go, the data lines align with where all the data lines are going to go, and I want to make sure that the lighting components hit and meet the requirements to be able to make sure that we have plenty of recess cans and lighting components, ceiling fans, switches everywhere in the house. On this in particular house, we only had a one-way switch that did the entire living room and kitchen. So I ended up having to put 2 more switches in there. And so we ended up doing is ran a home run from one, pigtailed it over to another switch that was by the master bedroom. And then we did another switch that was out by the back door. So if you come in the front door into the living room, you could turn on the light switch. If you're already home and you come out of your master bedroom and it's the middle of the night, you need water, you don't have to run to the front door to turn on that switch. You could just turn it on right by your master bedroom and have kitchen lights. Or if you're coming in from outside on the patio, maybe you were barbecuing, you had friends and the sun goes down, you can walk in right from the outside of your house and turn on the switch from there too, without having to cross through a dark home in the middle of the night. So just to make it more effective and efficient, we had to make some minor modifications to the electrical components on this house. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make sure that you have a house that has ease for use and the best use for your end clients. Ladies and gentlemen, we're documenting the process of buying land, building houses. I'm going to put 2 links on this video right on the side of here. I'm going to put 2 links. One link that takes you back to video number 1 to help you go back and watch the entire process of buying land, building houses. And I'm going to put another link on this right side to be able to document the process from 2 years ago of buying land, building houses. And you have 2 series, ladies and gentlemen. Educate yourself. Click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that thumbs up button. And ladies and gentlemen, let's document the process of you buying your next piece of land and building your next house for a 6-figure profit. Click and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.